Torod Neptune, Chief Communications Officer here at Lenovo. Well, there are a lot of different things that we are responsible for. I'd say the most significant is the people who are responsible, the team who is responsible for how we articulate the Lenovo story. Who we are, who we aspire to be, how we want people to think about us, both internally and externally, and the organization that is the most responsible for engaging our stakeholders in that story. Data has become much more important to the communications discipline from the vantage point of we now have the ability to understand more about the audiences we're trying to influence than we ever have. The function of communications, whether you call that marketing or integrated comms, has always focused on relationships, either through the lens of media relations, which is perhaps the most consistent role that these type teams have played within organizations. And as we were just talking about with the growth in channels and the growing amount of access that consumers have to information outside of what is traditional media, and as that industry has been disrupted by digital channels, what it's done is really create the challenge for functions to think more broadly about how do you engage with stakeholders. No longer are media the single conduit for a brand being able to engage its audiences. You have a million other opportunities, and so what that has created is a challenge for teams to think much more strategically about how do we organize ourselves around understanding how to leverage channels, access channels, from an understanding of where our audiences are and how they want to be engaged with. And in many instances, that is not through the traditional media. And so that, in some ways, is what I think about most significantly when I think about how we've got to, for the discipline of communications, think more creatively about channels and audiences and the understanding of where our audience exists, where they live, how they want to be engaged, what type of content is going to engage them. So I think we've done a lot of great work over the last year and a half to organize and understand what the Lenovo story is, the sum story of all of the value we bring as an enterprise, not just our Motorola story or our DCG story or our PC story, the broad global story. And that through the lens of not necessarily the way we want to talk about ourselves, but in a way that resonates with our customers, our audiences. And so I'm very excited about, again, the Lenovo story and us organizing around that being one unified story that is the articulation of all the value that we have inherent in this organization globally. And so that is very exciting. And then as an outflow from that to this conversation around data and analytics and the importance of those as approaches, we've done a lot of great work over the last 6-7 months to integrate data, access first of all to ensure that we have the right tools and access to the right information, but then also stand up processes that allow us to have that data presented in a way that gives us a very fact-based view of how we are perceived globally as a brand, and then what the real impact is of our media influencer relationship building work. And then we are just beginning to leverage these core sets of data into organizing around the insights from that can help us not just understand how people, our audiences reacted, but also predict the way we know they're going to react to content, our story, and to help us be much more thoughtful about, again, the channels that we engage in.